Stop what you're doing. Right now. Look at your hands. Go ahead, actually look at them. What if I told you that what you're seeing isn't really there? Not in the way you think, anyway. 3 weeks ago, I stumbled across a scientific paper that completely shattered everything I thought I knew about reality. And I mean everything. It wasn't just another study about quantum mechanics or consciousness research. This was different. This was proof that the world around you, your coffee cup, your phone, even the air you're breathing, isn't the solid, unchanging reality you've been told it is your entire life. You see, we've been living inside the biggest illusion in human history. An illusion so convincing, so perfectly crafted by our own minds, that we've mistaken it for absolute truth. But what if reality isn't happening to you? What if it's happening through you? I know how this sounds. Trust me, I was skeptical too. But by the end of this video, I'm going to show you scientific evidence that will make you question every single thing you think you know about how the world works. And more importantly, I'm going to show you how you might be unconsciously rewriting reality every single second of every single day. Here's what's really going on. Right now, as you watch this, your brain is processing millions of bits of information. Light waves are hitting your retina, sound waves are vibrating your eardrums, and somehow, magically, all of this becomes your experience of watching a video. But here's the part that will blow your mind. Your brain isn't just passively receiving this information. It's actively constructing what you perceive as reality. Think about dreams for a moment. In a dream, you can see vivid colors, hear crystal clear sounds, feel intense emotions, and experience elaborate storylines. Yet none of it exists outside your mind. Your brain created every pixel of that experience from nothing but electrical signals. So here's the disturbing question. How do you know this moment right now is any different? The answer is you don't. And quantum physics is proving that the line between dreams and reality is far blurrier than we ever imagined. For over a century, physicists have been discovering that at the fundamental level, reality doesn't behave the way our common sense tells us it should. Particles exist in multiple places at once. They change their behavior based on whether we're observing them or not. They seem to communicate instantly across vast distances, as if space and time don't even matter. But here's what most people don't realize. These aren't just weird quirks that only apply to tiny particles in laboratory experiments. These quantum effects are the foundation of everything. Every atom in your body, every photon of light illuminating this screen, every thought firing through your neural networks, it's all built on this strange reality-bending quantum foundation. And if consciousness can influence quantum systems in a lab, what's it doing to the quantum systems that make up your everyday reality? I want you to imagine something. Picture your most vivid childhood memory. Can you see it? Feel it? That memory feels real, doesn't it? But neurologists will tell you that every time you remember something, your brain slightly rewrites it. You're not accessing a stored file, you're reconstructing that experience from quantum electrical patterns, and those patterns change based on your current state of mind, your beliefs, your emotions. So if your past isn't fixed, if your brain is constantly rewriting your memories based on your present consciousness, then what makes you think your present reality is any more solid? This isn't just philosophical speculation anymore. Cutting-edge research in quantum biology is revealing that quantum effects play crucial roles in photosynthesis, bird navigation, and even the basic operations of consciousness itself. Your brain might be operating as a quantum computer, processing reality at levels we're only beginning to understand. But here's where it gets really interesting. If your consciousness is quantum in nature, and if quantum systems are influenced by observation and intention, then your very awareness might be participating in the creation of what you experience as reality. I'm not talking about wishful thinking or positive psychology. I'm talking about something far more profound. The possibility that your mind is literally, physically, scientifically involved in determining what becomes real around you. And if that's true, then everything changes. Every thought you think, every belief you hold, every emotion you feel might be sending ripples through the quantum field that underlies everything you experience. Over the next 6 chapters, we're going to dive deep into this rabbit hole together. I'll show you exactly how quantum fields work, why consciousness might be the missing piece in our understanding of reality, and most importantly, what this means for your life right here, right now. Because if reality is more flexible than we thought, if consciousness plays an active role in shaping what becomes real, then you have far more power than you ever imagined. The question isn't whether you're influencing reality. The question is how conscious you want to become of the reality you're already creating. Are you ready to find out just how deep this goes? Before we go any deeper, I need to share something with you that's going to completely change how you see the world around you. What I'm about to tell you isn't theory or speculation. This is established science that most people have never heard about, and once you understand it, you'll never look at anything the same way again. Everything you think you know about what's real is wrong. Not sort of wrong, not partially wrong, completely wrong. Right now, you're probably thinking about reality in terms of solid objects. Your chair, your walls, your body. These seem like separate, distinct things made of solid matter, right? But that's not what's actually there. What's actually there is something far more mysterious and far more incredible. The truth is, there are no solid objects. None. Zero. What you're experiencing as solid matter is actually something called quantum fields. And these fields are everywhere, all the time, vibrating with infinite possibilities. Think about this for a second. The screen you're looking at right now isn't actually a screen. It's a pattern of disturbances in something called the electromagnetic field. The light coming from it isn't little particles flying through space. It's waves of energy rippling through the same field that fills every cubic inch of the universe. But here's where it gets really wild. These quantum fields aren't just the building blocks of matter and energy. They're the building blocks of everything. Every sensation you feel, every thought you think, every emotion you experience, it all emerges from the dance of these invisible fields. Let me put this in perspective. Imagine you're standing at the edge of an ocean. You see waves rolling toward the shore. Now, where does one wave end and another begin? You can't really say, can you? The waves aren't separate things. They're all part of the same ocean, just different patterns of movement in the same water. That's exactly what reality is like, except instead of water, we have quantum fields. And instead of waves, we have what we call particles, matter, energy, and yes, even consciousness itself. Everything you've ever experienced is just different patterns of vibration in these underlying fields. But here's the part that's going to blow your mind. These fields don't exist in some definite state until something observes them. Before observation, they exist in what physicists call a superposition, which means they're in all possible states at the same time. They're not waves or particles, they're not here or there, they're not anything definite until the moment they interact with consciousness. Now, I know what you're thinking. This sounds insane. How can something be in all states at once? How can reality be indefinite until it's observed? But this isn't mystical mumbo-jumbo. This is what every experiment in quantum physics has been showing us for over 100 years. The famous physicist John Wheeler put it perfectly when he said that we live in a participatory universe. We're not just observers watching reality unfold. We're participants in the very creation of what becomes real. Think about radio waves for a moment. Right now, there are thousands of radio signals passing through your body. Music, talk shows, news broadcasts, they're all there simultaneously, occupying the same space. But you can't hear any of them until you tune a radio to a specific frequency. The act of tuning doesn't create the radio waves, but it does select which reality you experience. This is exactly what might be happening with consciousness and quantum fields. All possibilities exist simultaneously in the field, but consciousness acts like a tuning mechanism, selecting which version of reality crystallizes into your experience. And here's where it gets really interesting. Different states of consciousness might tune into different aspects of the quantum field. Your beliefs, your emotions, your expectations, they might all be like different radio dials, each one influencing which version of reality emerges from the infinite sea of possibilities. This means that what you experience as the solid, unchanging world around you is actually more like a symphony being performed in real time. The quantum fields are the instruments, consciousness is the conductor, and reality is the music that emerges from their interaction. But unlike a regular symphony, this one is being composed as it's being played. Every moment, every observation, every conscious interaction is adding new notes, new harmonies, new movements to the song of reality. Now, I want you to really think about what this means. If quantum fields are the foundation of everything, and if these fields respond to observation and consciousness, then your awareness isn't separate from reality. It's woven into the very fabric of reality. You're not just living in the universe, you're participating in its creation. Every thought you think, every observation you make, every moment of awareness is literally helping to write the next verse of reality's song. And if that's true, if consciousness really does play a role in determining what becomes real, then we need to completely rethink what it means to be human. We need to rethink what it means to think, to feel, to believe, to intend. Because if quantum fields are responding to consciousness, then your inner world isn't just reflecting your outer world, it might be creating it. In the next chapter, we're going to explore the most famous experiment in quantum physics, one that proves beyond any doubt that observation changes reality. And then we're going to ask the question that changes everything. If observation can change reality in a laboratory, what is it doing to the reality you live in every single day? The answer is going to challenge everything you thought you knew about the power of your own mind. Before we go any deeper, I need to share something with you that's going to completely change how you see the world around you. What I'm about to tell you isn't theory or speculation. This is established science that most people have never heard about, and once you understand it, you'll never look at anything the same way again. Everything you think you know about what's real is wrong. Not sort of wrong, not partially wrong, completely wrong. Right now, you're probably thinking about reality in terms of solid objects. Your chair, your walls, your body. These seem like separate, distinct things made of solid matter, right? But that's not what's actually there. What's actually there is something far more mysterious and far more incredible. The truth is, there are no solid objects. None. Zero. What you're experiencing as solid matter is actually something called quantum fields. And these fields are everywhere, all the time, vibrating with infinite possibilities. Think about this for a second. The screen you're looking at right now isn't actually a screen. It's a pattern of disturbances in something called the electromagnetic field. The light coming from it isn't little particles flying through space. It's waves of energy rippling through the same field that fills every cubic inch of the universe. But here's where it gets really wild. These quantum fields aren't just the building blocks of matter and energy. They're the building blocks of everything. Every sensation you feel, every thought you think, every emotion you experience, it all emerges from the dance of these invisible fields. Let me put this in perspective. Imagine you're standing at the edge of an ocean. You see waves rolling toward the shore. Now, where does one wave end and another begin? You can't really say, can you? The waves aren't separate things. They're all part of the same ocean, just different patterns of movement in the same water. That's exactly what reality is like, except instead of water, we have quantum fields. And instead of waves, we have what we call particles, matter, energy, and yes, even consciousness itself. Everything you've ever experienced is just different patterns of vibration in these underlying fields. But here's the part that's going to blow your mind. These fields don't exist in some definite state until something observes them. Before observation, they exist in what physicists call a superposition, which means they're in all possible states at the same time. They're not waves or particles, they're not here or there, they're not anything definite until the moment they interact with consciousness. Now, I know what you're thinking. This sounds insane. How can something be in all states at once? How can reality be indefinite until it's observed? But this isn't mystical mumbo-jumbo. This is what every experiment in quantum physics has been showing us for over 100 years. The famous physicist John Wheeler put it perfectly when he said that we live in a participatory universe. We're not just observers watching reality unfold. We're participants in the very creation of what becomes real. Think about radio waves for a moment. Right now, there are thousands of radio signals passing through your body. Music, talk shows, news broadcasts, they're all there simultaneously, occupying the same space. But you can't hear any of them until you tune a radio to a specific frequency. The act of tuning doesn't create the radio waves, but it does select which reality you experience. This is exactly what might be happening with consciousness and quantum fields. All possibilities exist simultaneously in the field, but consciousness acts like a tuning mechanism, selecting which version of reality crystallizes into your experience. And here's where it gets really interesting. Different states of consciousness might tune into different aspects of the quantum field. Your beliefs, your emotions, your expectations, they might all be like different radio dials, each one influencing which version of reality emerges from the infinite sea of possibilities. This means that what you experience as the solid, unchanging world around you is actually more like a symphony being performed in real time. The quantum fields are the instruments, consciousness is the conductor, and reality is the music that emerges from their interaction. But unlike a regular symphony, this one is being composed as it's being played. Every moment, every observation, every conscious interaction is adding new notes, new harmonies, new movements to the song of reality. Now, I want you to really think about what this means. If quantum fields are the foundation of everything, and if these fields respond to observation and consciousness, then your awareness isn't separate from reality, it's woven into the very fabric of reality. You're not just living in the universe, you're participating in its creation. Every thought you think, every observation you make, every moment of awareness is literally helping to write the next verse of reality's song. And if that's true, if consciousness really does play a role in determining what becomes real, then we need to completely rethink what it means to be human. We need to rethink what it means to think, to feel, to believe, to intend. Because if quantum fields are responding to consciousness, then your inner world isn't just reflecting your outer world, it might be creating it. In the next chapter, we're going to explore the most famous experiment in quantum physics, one that proves beyond any doubt that observation changes reality. And then we're going to ask the question that changes everything. If observation can change reality in a laboratory, what is it doing to the reality you live in every single day? The answer is going to challenge everything you thought you knew about the power of your own mind. Here's what nobody tells you about consciousness. We've been thinking about it completely backwards. For centuries, we've believed that consciousness is like a spotlight, illuminating a world that already exists. Your mind observes reality, processes it, and reacts to it. Consciousness is the passenger, reality is the driver. But what if that's completely wrong? What if consciousness isn't just observing reality, but actively participating in its creation? What if your mind isn't a passenger at all, but actually sitting in the driver's seat? The implications of the observer effect go far beyond laboratory experiments with particles. If observation can literally change what becomes real at the quantum level, and if everything in existence emerges from quantum processes, then consciousness might be the most powerful creative force in the universe. Think about this carefully. Right now, as you listen to these words, your brain is processing information through quantum mechanical processes. Neurons are firing, neurotransmitters are crossing synapses, and somehow this quantum activity becomes your conscious experience. But here's the question that changes everything. What if this process works both ways? What if consciousness doesn't just emerge from quantum processes, but also influences them? What if your thoughts, beliefs, emotions, and intentions are constantly sending signals back down into the quantum field, subtly shaping what possibilities become real? This isn't just speculation anymore. We're discovering that consciousness might operate as a quantum system itself. Your brain maintains quantum coherence in ways that shouldn't be possible according to classical physics. Microtubules in your neurons appear to sustain quantum effects at body temperature, something that should be impossible but somehow isn't. Roger Penrose, one of the world's leading physicists, and Stuart Hameroff, a renowned anesthesiologist, have proposed that consciousness itself emerges from quantum processes in the brain. If they're right, then your consciousness isn't separate from the quantum field, it's part of it. And if consciousness is part of the quantum field, then it's subject to the same rules that govern all quantum systems. It can exist in superposition, can be influenced by observation, it can entangle with other quantum systems, including the quantum systems that make up your external reality. Let me give you a way to think about this. Imagine reality as a vast ocean of quantum possibilities, with waves of potential experiences constantly rippling through it. Most people think consciousness is like a cork bobbing on the surface of this ocean, moved by whatever waves happen to come its way. But what if consciousness is more like a tuning fork? When you strike a tuning fork near a piano, the piano strings that match that frequency start vibrating in resonance. Your consciousness might work the same way, resonating with certain possibilities in the quantum field and amplifying them into reality. Your beliefs would be like different tuning forks, each one resonating with experiences that match their frequency. Your emotions would modulate these resonances, making some stronger and others weaker. Your intentions would be like deliberately striking specific tuning forks, consciously choosing which possibilities to amplify. This would explain so much about human experience that we've never understood. Why do people with strong beliefs often seem to live in completely different realities? Why do optimists and pessimists have such different life experiences? Why do our expectations so often seem to shape what actually happens to us? If consciousness participates in selecting which possibilities become real, then these aren't just psychological phenomena, they're quantum mechanical phenomena. Your inner world isn't just reflecting your outer world, it's helping to create it. Consider the placebo effect. A person takes a sugar pill believing it's medicine, and their body actually heals. This shouldn't be possible if consciousness is just a passive observer. But if consciousness can influence quantum processes in the brain and body, then the placebo effect makes perfect sense. Belief literally changes biology. Or consider the phenomenon of synchronicity, those meaningful coincidences that seem too perfect to be random. If consciousness can influence quantum processes, and if quantum systems can become entangled across space and time, then synchronicity might not be coincidence at all. It might be consciousness recognizing patterns it helped create. But here's what's really profound about this. If consciousness participates in creating reality, then every human being is constantly engaged in an act of creation. Not just artists or inventors or visionaries, but every single person, every single moment. You're not just living your life, you're authoring it. Not just the story you tell about your life, but the actual events, experiences, and circumstances that make up your life. Your consciousness is like a pen constantly writing on the quantum field, and reality is the story that emerges. Most people are writing unconsciously, their pen guided by habitual thoughts, automatic beliefs, and unconscious expectations. They're creating by default, not by design. But once you understand that you have the pen in your hand, everything changes. You start to realize that your thoughts aren't just private mental events, they're creative acts. Your beliefs aren't just personal opinions, they're reality-shaping forces. Your emotions aren't just internal experiences, they're quantum field modulators. This doesn't mean you can just think positive thoughts and magically transform your life overnight. The quantum field isn't a cosmic vending machine where you insert good vibes and get perfect outcomes. It's far more subtle and complex than that. But it does mean that your consciousness is far more powerful than you've ever imagined. It means that becoming aware of your thoughts, examining your beliefs, and consciously directing your attention aren't just self-improvement techniques. They're literally techniques for participating more consciously in the creation of reality. In our next chapter, we're going to look at the actual scientific evidence for this mind-matter connection. We're going to examine real experiments, real data, and real research that supports the idea that consciousness can influence physical reality. Because this isn't just a beautiful theory, it's a testable hypothesis. And the results of those tests are going to change everything you thought you knew about the relationship between your mind and the world around you. I know what you're thinking. This all sounds incredible, maybe too incredible to be true. The idea that consciousness can influence reality sounds like something out of a science fiction movie, not serious science. So let me show you the evidence. Real experiments conducted by real scientists at real universities with results that have been replicated over and over again. What you're about to hear isn't theory or speculation. This is hard data that proves consciousness can directly influence physical reality. Let's start with the Global Consciousness Project, run by Princeton University for over 2 decades. This experiment uses random number generators, machines that produce completely random sequences of ones and zeros, scattered around the world. Under normal circumstances, these machines produce truly random data with no discernible patterns. But here's what they discovered. During moments of global focused attention, when millions of people around the world are focusing on the same event, something impossible happens. The random number generators start producing non-random patterns. The data becomes statistically ordered in ways that should be impossible. This happened during 9/11. It happened during the funeral of Princess Diana. It happens during major sporting events, natural disasters, and moments of collective human focus. When human consciousness becomes globally coherent, the fabric of reality itself seems to respond. The odds of this happening by chance are less than 1 in a trillion. That's not a coincidence. That's evidence that collective consciousness can influence physical systems. But it gets even more compelling. Dr. Dean Radin at the Institute of Noetic Sciences has conducted thousands of experiments showing that human intention can influence random number generators, even when people are located thousands of miles away from the machines. People simply focus their intention on making the numbers more ordered, and the machines respond. The effect is small but consistent, showing up across cultures, across decades, across different types of random systems. This isn't one lucky experiment. This is a robust, replicated phenomenon that demonstrates consciousness can reach out and touch physical reality. Then there's the work of Dr. Masaru Emoto with water crystals. When water is exposed to different words, emotions, or intentions, and then frozen, the ice crystals form completely different patterns. Water exposed to words like love and gratitude forms beautiful, symmetrical crystals. Water exposed to negative words or emotions forms chaotic, fragmented patterns. Critics argue about methodology, but the basic finding has been replicated by multiple researchers. Human consciousness and intention appear to influence the physical structure of water. And since your body is roughly 60% water, this has profound implications for how your thoughts might be influencing your physical health. But perhaps the most compelling evidence comes from quantum biology itself. We now know that quantum effects play crucial roles in photosynthesis, allowing plants to harvest energy with nearly 100% efficiency. Birds use quantum entanglement for navigation. Even the process of smell appears to rely on quantum mechanical effects. Most importantly, researchers like Dr. Stuart Hameroff and Sir Roger Penrose have shown that quantum processes might be fundamental to consciousness itself. Microtubules in brain neurons maintain quantum coherence at body temperature, something that classical physics said was impossible. If consciousness operates through quantum processes, and if quantum systems can influence other quantum systems through entanglement, then consciousness influencing external reality isn't just possible, it's predicted by quantum theory. Dr. Henry Stapp, a quantum physicist at Berkeley, puts it this way: consciousness and matter are not separate things interacting with each other, they're different aspects of the same underlying quantum process. Your thoughts aren't separate from the physical world. They're part of the same quantum field that gives rise to everything you experience as physical reality. But here's where the evidence gets really interesting. It's not just that consciousness can influence reality, it's that different states of consciousness influence reality in different ways. Dr. Joe Dispenza has documented cases where people in elevated emotional states of deep gratitude, love, or coherence, show measurable changes in their electromagnetic field. Their heart coherence increases, their brain waves synchronize, and their overall energy signature becomes more organized and powerful. And here's the kicker. People in these coherent states report more synchronicities, more meaningful coincidences, and more rapid manifestation of their intentions. It's as if coherent consciousness has a stronger influence on the quantum field than scattered, chaotic consciousness. This aligns perfectly with ancient wisdom traditions that have taught for thousands of years that consciousness in elevated states can influence external reality. What modern science is discovering is the mechanism by which this actually works. Even mainstream neuroscience is beginning to acknowledge that consciousness isn't just produced by the brain, it might be fundamental to the universe itself. Dr. Christoph Koch, former president of the Allen Institute for Brain Science, has become a proponent of panpsychism, the idea that consciousness is a basic feature of reality at all levels. If consciousness is fundamental rather than emergent, if it's woven into the fabric of reality itself, then the idea that your consciousness influences your reality isn't mystical, it's mechanical. It's simply how the universe works. Now, I want to address the skeptics directly. Yes, these effects are often subtle. Yes, the mechanisms are complex and not fully understood. Yes, there's still debate in the scientific community about interpretation. But the data is undeniable. Consciousness can influence physical systems. Mind can affect matter. Your awareness can reach out and touch the quantum field in measurable, repeatable ways. The question isn't whether this is real. The question is, what are you going to do with this knowledge? Because if your consciousness is constantly influencing reality, If every thought, emotion, and intention is sending ripples through the quantum field, then you have a choice. You can influence reality unconsciously, by default, through habitual patterns and automatic responses. Or you can learn to influence reality consciously, with intention and awareness. In our next chapter, we're going to explore exactly how to do that. We're going to talk about the practical implications of everything we've discovered. If consciousness really can influence reality, how do you harness that power? How do you become a conscious co-creator of your experience? The science is clear. You're already influencing reality whether you know it or not. The question is, are you ready to learn how to do it on purpose? Now comes the moment you've been waiting for. We've established that quantum fields underlie all reality. We've proven that consciousness can influence these fields. We've shown the scientific evidence that your mind is already participating in creating your reality. So the question is no longer whether you're influencing reality. The question is, how do you do it consciously? How do you transform from someone who accidentally shapes reality through unconscious patterns to someone who deliberately architects their experience with intention and awareness? The first thing you need to understand is that you've been doing this your entire life, you just haven't been aware of it. Every belief you hold, every emotion you feel regularly, every pattern of thought you repeat has been sending signals into the quantum field. And the field has been responding, shaping your experiences to match those signals. Think about the people in your life who seem to effortlessly attract what they want. They're not just lucky, they're unconsciously coherent. Their thoughts, emotions, and beliefs are aligned, sending consistent signals into the quantum field. Now think about people who seem to constantly struggle, who always expect problems and usually find them. They're not cursed, they're unconsciously creating experiences that match their dominant internal state. The difference between these two types of people isn't luck or talent or circumstances. It's coherence. One group has learned to align their consciousness with what they want to experience. The other group has unknowingly aligned their consciousness with what they fear or expect. So how do you become coherent? How do you align your consciousness with the reality you want to create? The first step is awareness. You cannot change what you're not aware of. Most people go through their days on autopilot, thinking the same thoughts, feeling the same emotions, holding the same beliefs, and then wondering why their life stays the same. Start paying attention to your internal state. Notice what you think about most often. Notice what emotions you feel most regularly. Notice what you expect to happen in different situations. This internal landscape is your current reality creation program, and it's running 24/7. The second step is understanding the language of the quantum field. The field doesn't respond to your words or your logical thoughts. It responds to the electromagnetic signature of your heart, the coherence of your brain waves, the frequency of your overall energetic state. This is why positive thinking alone doesn't work. You can repeat affirmations all day long, but if your heart is generating the electromagnetic signature of fear, doubt, or unworthiness, that's the signal the field receives. True reality creation happens when your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs become coherent. When your mind thinks abundance, your heart feels gratitude, and your beliefs support the possibility of receiving what you desire. Dr. Joe Dispenza's research shows that when people achieve heart-brain coherence, when their heart rhythm patterns become ordered and their brain waves synchronize, they enter a state where reality becomes more malleable. In this coherent state, people report increased synchronicities, accelerated manifestation, and experiences that seem to defy conventional probability. Here's a practical technique you can start with immediately. It's called quantum field meditation, and it's designed specifically to create the coherent state that influences reality. Find a quiet space and close your eyes. Begin by focusing on your heart center and breathing slowly and deeply. As you breathe, imagine that you're breathing energy directly into your heart. Feel appreciation or gratitude for anything in your life, no matter how small. As your heart coherence increases, you'll feel a shift in your energy. Your breathing will become more rhythmic, your mind will become quieter, and you'll feel more centered and peaceful. Once you're in this coherent state, imagine that you're connected to the quantum field that underlies all reality. You're not trying to manipulate or force anything. You're simply becoming aware of your connection to the creative force of the universe. From this space of coherence and connection, allow yourself to feel the emotions of already having what you desire. Not wanting it, not needing it, but actually feeling gratitude for already experiencing it. Let this feeling fill your entire being. The key is elevated emotions. You can't create a new reality from the same emotional state that created your current reality. You need to feel now how you would feel if what you desired had already happened. This isn't visualization, this is embodiment. You're not imagining a future reality, you're tuning your consciousness to the frequency of that reality right now. But here's what most people miss. Reality creation isn't just about getting what you want. It's about becoming who you need to be to live in harmony with what you want. If you want financial abundance but you hold beliefs about money being evil or scarce, you're sending contradictory signals. The field responds to your deepest, most consistent energetic signature, not your surface desires. This is why consciousness work is so important. You need to examine and potentially transform the beliefs, emotions, and thought patterns that might be contradicting what you consciously desire. Another crucial element is detachment. The quantum field responds to your energetic state, not to your desperation or need. When you're attached to outcomes, when you need something to happen for you to feel good, you're actually sending the signal of lack into the field. True reality architects learn to feel fulfilled and complete regardless of external circumstances. They desire from a place of excitement and creativity, not from a place of need or desperation. Here's a daily practice that can transform your reality creation abilities. Every morning, spend 20 minutes in quantum field meditation. Get coherent, connect with the field, and embody the emotions of your desired reality. Throughout the day, notice when you slip back into old patterns of thinking and feeling. Don't judge yourself. Simply redirect your attention back to coherence, back to the emotional state of your desired reality. Before sleep, spend another 10 minutes reviewing your day from the perspective of the reality you're creating. Did your thoughts, emotions, and actions align with where you're going, or did they reinforce where you've been? Remember, you're not trying to control reality, you're learning to dance with it. The quantum field is intelligent and creative beyond anything your mind can imagine. When you align your consciousness with your deepest desires and maintain coherence, the field often delivers experiences that are better than what you originally envisioned. But there's something even more important than getting what you want. As you practice conscious reality creation, you begin to realize that you are not separate from the universe. You're not trying to get something from reality. You are reality expressing itself through your unique perspective. This shift from separation to unity, from wanting to being, from trying to allowing, is the ultimate transformation. You stop being someone who's trying to manifest a better life, and you become someone who's consciously participating in the ongoing creation of reality itself. In our final chapter, we're going to explore what this means not just for your personal life, but for humanity as a whole. Because if consciousness can influence reality, and if more people become conscious of this ability, we're on the verge of a transformation that could change everything about how humans relate to themselves, each other, and the universe we live in. Your quantum awakening isn't just about improving your life. It's about stepping into your role as a conscious co-creator of reality itself. We've traveled from the illusion of fixed reality to the scientific truth of quantum fields. We've discovered that consciousness isn't just along for the ride. It's actively participating in the creation of what becomes real. We've explored the evidence, learned the mechanisms, and discovered practical techniques for conscious reality creation. But now I want to share with you the most profound implication of everything we've discovered. This isn't just about improving your personal life or manifesting your desires. This is about recognizing who you really are and stepping into your role in the greatest transformation in human history. You are not a biological accident wandering through a random universe. You are consciousness itself, expressing through a human form, participating in the ongoing creation of reality. You are literally the universe becoming aware of itself through your unique perspective. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, every moment of awareness you experience, is the cosmos exploring its own infinite potential through you. You're not separate from the creative force that spun galaxies into existence and sparked life on billions of worlds. You are that force, individualized, localized, personalized. This changes everything about what it means to be human. You're not a victim of circumstances, you're a co-author of reality. You're not powerless against the challenges of life. You're equipped with the most fundamental creative force in the universe, consciousness itself. But with this recognition comes tremendous responsibility. If you're participating in creating reality, then you're responsible for the quality of consciousness you bring to that creation. Are you creating from love or fear? From abundance or scarcity? From unity or separation? The reality we collectively experience isn't just the result of physical laws and random events. It's the collective output of billions of conscious beings, each one influencing the quantum field through their thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and intentions. This means that global transformation isn't just possible, it's inevitable as more people awaken to their role as conscious co-creators. Every person who shifts from unconscious reaction to conscious creation adds coherence to the collective field. Every person who chooses love over fear, abundance over scarcity, unity over separation, is literally helping to create a more coherent, harmonious reality for everyone. We're living at a unique moment in human history. For the first time, we have both the scientific understanding and the global communication systems necessary for mass awakening to our true nature as conscious co-creators. This is why you're watching this video right now. This isn't coincidence, this is synchronicity. Your consciousness has aligned with information that can transform not just your understanding of reality, but your participation in its creation. So what happens next? How do you integrate this knowledge into your daily life? How do you become a conscious participant in the quantum field? Start with this simple practice. For the next 7 days, I want you to conduct an experiment in conscious reality creation. Every morning when you wake up, before you check your phone or think about your problems or slip into your usual patterns, spend just 5 minutes connecting with the quantum field. Sit quietly, breathe into your heart, and remember that you're not separate from the creative force of the universe. You are that force expressing through your unique perspective. Feel the truth of that connection. Let it fill you with wonder, with gratitude, with excitement about your role as a reality co-creator. Then, from that connected state, set a clear intention for your day. Not a wish or a hope, but a clear energetic signature of how you want to experience your day. Maybe it's feeling more joy, more peace, more connection, more flow. Embody that feeling as if it's already happening. Throughout the day, notice when you slip back into unconscious patterns of thinking and feeling. Don't judge yourself. Just gently redirect your attention back to conscious creation. Remember, you're learning a new skill, and like any skill, it takes practice. Before you sleep each night, review your day. Notice what happened when you were conscious versus when you were unconscious. Look for synchronicities, meaningful coincidences, moments when reality seemed to respond to your inner state. Keep a journal of these observations. This simple 7-day practice will begin to show you the direct connection between your consciousness and your experience. You'll start to see patterns, correlations, evidence of your role as a reality co-creator. But I want you to understand something crucial. This isn't about proving anything to anyone else. This is about proving it to yourself. Your direct experience is the only proof that matters. No one can convince you of your power to influence reality. You can only discover it through your own conscious experimentation. And as you discover this power, as you become more conscious of your role in creating reality, something beautiful happens. You stop trying to get things from the universe and start recognizing yourself as the universe expressing through a human form. You stop feeling separate and powerless, and start feeling connected and creative. You stop being afraid of life and start being excited by the infinite possibilities available in each moment. This is your quantum awakening, not some distant spiritual achievement, but a practical recognition of what's always been true. You've always been influencing reality, you've always been connected to the quantum field, you've always been consciousness expressing through form. The only thing that's changed is your awareness of it. But here's the most beautiful part of this awakening. As you become more conscious of your role as a reality co-creator, you naturally become more compassionate, more loving, more unified with all life. because you realize that everyone else is also consciousness expressing through form. Everyone else is also co-creating reality through their awareness. We're all in this together, all participating in the same vast, intelligent, creative process. Your awakening contributes to the collective awakening. Your conscious participation in reality creation makes it easier for others to discover their own power. The future of humanity depends not on new technology or political systems or economic theories, but on this fundamental shift in consciousness. From seeing ourselves as separate beings trying to survive in a hostile universe, to recognizing ourselves as individualized expressions of the one creative consciousness that is the universe itself. This shift is happening now, one person at a time, one awakening at a time. And your awakening, your recognition of your role as a conscious co-creator, is part of that transformation. So I leave you with this challenge. Don't just watch this video and go back to your old way of thinking about reality. You now know something that changes everything. You know that reality is not happening to you, it's happening through you. You know that your consciousness is not separate from the creative force of the universe. It is that force expressing through your unique perspective. You know that every moment of awareness, every thought, every emotion, every intention, is participating in the ongoing creation of reality. The question is, what are you going to create? Your quantum awakening starts now.